Welcome back. I would like to say that spring training for Major League Baseball has begun. I'd like to, but I can't. Another week of the lockout and still no deal between the players and the owners. That's okay, because the lockout has allowed me to line up some great guests who have already put on their cleats and are having some fun in the Florida sun. I am Grayson Knight, and this is Baseball Podcast Are Fun. Today's guest is a catcher from the Tampa Bay Rays organization, Erik Ostberg. By the way, the Rays are my favorite team, so this will be extra fun. Erik is one of hundreds of minor league players that have already begun minor league spring training and are getting ready for a great season. Please welcome Erik Ostberg. Thanks for joining me, Erik. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm happy to see that you're doing. We need more kids to like baseball these days, and I'm never gonna say no to doing an interview, so it's all good.
You're at camp in Florida right now. Where in Florida are you?
I'm in Port Charlotte, so obviously I play with the Rays, and people think that I'm in Tampa, but our spring training complex is in Port Charlotte, which is like 45 minutes from Sarasota. And, I enjoy this place. We got a really nice setup here. And I'm living with my bat guy who is the guy that runs Dovetail Bats out of Maine. And I got a good setup here, man. I'm 3 days in. We're in early camp. So, early camp is optional, but for me, like not really optional. I'm from Massachusetts and it's cold. So I like to get down early and get moving, get my body moving, and adjust to some things and set my routines for the rest of camp. So I've come early, every year that I've been with the Rays.
Last week, I learned minor leaguers could start their spring training outside of what the big clubs are doing. Do you still have a contract with the Rays club?
Of course. Yeah. All the guys that are in AAA, AA, single A, like we all are under contract with the Rays. It's just the only reason that we're here and the major leaguers are not is because, the major leaguers are covered, they're under the players union and the dispute is between the players and the owners. And once you get on the 40-man, you become represented under this players union. So the guys that are on the 40-man are not at this moment, but everybody else throughout the system can come, and it's business as usual for us.
I want to come back to your spring training in a moment. You grew up in New England, right?
Yeah, I'm from Massachusetts, and I'm from specifically Northampton, Mass, which not a lot of people know, but it's near Springfield, where the Basketball Hall of Fame is.
Were you a huge Red Sox fan growing up?
Somewhat, I was into the Red Sox for a while, but really I was just a nerd for baseball, kind of like, it seems like you're you like to study the game and look at it from all aspects. I was, huge into collecting baseball cards. I was big into fantasy baseball. So, I would watch any game and enjoy it. Like I definitely had some fun with the Red Sox in my early years, but from an early age, I knew that baseball was kind of a business. I also knew I wanted to be a player. That's the only thing I've ever wanted to do since I was, 3-4 years old. And so I just enjoyed the game. I could watch any game and really just love it. And I did watch a lot of Red Sox games because obviously they were the team on TV and I would watch with my dad. And it seems like you guys do a lot of the same. And those are some of my fondest memories, really jump-started my love for baseball and was the only thing I ever wanted to do.
Did you go to any Red Sox games?
I did. I think the first time I went to a game was when I was like 10. I think I still remember my first time going to Fenway. It felt so big, and I just that was really a trigger for me. Like, this is something I really need to do, and I think I can do it.
Did you get to grow up the Green Monster?
Did I go on? I've actually never gone on that. Although I've played against a lot of the minor league Red Sox affiliates, and all their fields are set up similar to Fenway, and they all have. So I've kind of gone up there a few times, but never at Fenway. Just never really happened. But I didn't really care. I just really I loved studying the game. I just loved watching the players, how they were moving, what they were doing. So that's really what I was always drawn to.
Besides going to Red Sox games, what other fun stuff did you do as a player when you were my age?
Well, youth baseball, man, is some of the funnest most fun times that you could ever have. I mean, I still talk to my youth baseball teammates all the time, and you know, some of my best memories are 9 years old winning our town little league championship. And I used to pitch and play shortstop, and obviously I'm a catcher now, but there's just, that's really the time when it's really about the team and it's about winning. And you shouldn't take those days for granted, because the game sort of changes over time, and your role starts to change. And I did everything baseball with my friends, man. We were playing wiffle ball every day. I mean, we were trading baseball cards every single day. I mean, my entire childhood was completely revolved around the baseball season, really.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to collect every hat from every team. When I did get drafted by the Rays, I did have a Rays hat from when I was like 13, 14, 15 in my closet. So I threw that on, but that was like my goal. I mean, everything that I did literally was about baseball.
Which one are you wearing right now?
I'm just wearing a trucker hat right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I only wear Rays hats now.
Did any of your teammates from Little League grow up to be in the minors or majors like you?
No, I'm actually the only guy from my town, I think, ever to be in pro baseball. In Massachusetts, and it's tough to make it in pro ball from my area. Like it's cold a lot of times during the year.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't play as many games as the guys down south. So it can be hard to get noticed. And obviously like your skill development, I would argue for a high school kid, you're probably behind a kid from the south, just because you're not playing as many games, and that's affecting your development. It affects your savvy. It affects your maturity level in the game. So that being said, I had to really grind to get seen. I went to the University of Hartford, which is a mid-major school in Connecticut, and I really had to be a baller there. I really had to stick out among my region to get drafted. So yeah, I mean, I take pride in that, though, being like the only guy from my area. I mean, I'm very close with Nick Ahmed, who's the shortstop with the Diamondbacks, and his brother Mike, who played pro 7-8 years.
Yep.
They're from my area. There's a couple other guys that have been drafted from like kind of the region, but not my town specifically.
You're a catcher. My dad was a catcher. Was that your favorite position, or did you get pushed into it as you got older?
I got pushed into it. When I got into my freshman year of high school, I was lucky to have this coach that was kind of a part-time scout with the Blue Jays, and he knew how much I loved the game. He knew how much I wanted to play. He kind of pulled me aside going into my freshman year, and he was like, dude, you're a stocky guy. You are a left-handed hitter. He's like, I think you profile best as a catcher. And he was right. But I'd never caught until high school. So, being a catcher, I got to play varsity baseball as a freshman, and because I could catch, and I really had to do a lot of learning on the fly. And honestly, when I got to college, I really wasn't ready to catch at the college level. I had to learn a lot of stuff, and the position has changed dramatically in the last 2-3 years. So, I continue to learn on the catching side. I mean, I got drafted because I could hit, but the defense is something that's ever evolving for me. And, I don't think if I had not made that switch, I was probably going to be a third baseman, but I think that switch allowed my bat to play a little bit differently, and it was a good adjustment, a good thing that happened for me.
I read that when the Rays drafted you, it seemed like you had a chip on your shoulder because though you got overlooked. Does that still drive you to be the best player you can be?
Yeah, I mean, I was overlooked, in being that I was from Massachusetts, and even in the scouting circles, I played on a really good summer team, and I wasn't the top prospect on that team. We have a bunch of guys in pro ball off of that team, which is Northeast baseball out of Central Mass, and I just was never the number one guy that everybody wanted to look at. But I always just continued to perform and continue to show up and put numbers up and get better every single year. And when I was my junior year, I was leading all the nation Division I baseball in hitting and slugging, OPS. I was hitting 500 until I had a collision slide at the plate that ended my junior year. And, I was really rising up draft boards that season. And, I think obviously like a little bit of a PCL injury with my knee kind of threw me back on the draft board a little bit, and I ended up getting drafted anyway, but I felt like I'd kind of put myself in a better position than that. So by the time I got into pro ball, I mean, my mindset was like, I'm not the first priority. Like, I'm just going to go ball and show everybody.
Was it hard overcoming those injuries?
It was definitely hard my junior year because, I don't know how much research you've done on my career, but I was really having a historic college season up to that point, 25 games in. And, I'd gone from kind of a later New England kid, like, okay, this guy could be like a late pick, to all of a sudden I was like, Baseball America top 200. And I was like getting all this like attention. And felt like I finally got there, like I was really, a couple months from the draft, the draft that I've been preparing for my whole life. And then I get hurt. So then I have to do this rehab. I got to try to get back quick for pre-draft workouts, and I got to communicate with the teams. And it was just very frustrating at that time. Like, I really felt kind of gypped. And, at times I think back, like what I would give to finish that season, that junior year.
Is it hard being from Massachusetts, playing in the Rays organization?
No, there's other guys from New England too, from like New Jersey, New York, a couple of guys from, that Pennsylvania. It's not, we're on the East Coast, so I can drive down to spring training. If I was in California, it might be tough to drive, but it's not really an issue for me at all. It's just the transition from training up in Mass in the cold to coming down to the heat, and like the effect that has on your body in the early weeks.
Mm-hmm. I imagine what it must feel like. It almost feels like getting it in the pool and then going into the hot tub immediately. It's going from very cold to very hot.
Yes, correct. And yeah. And I don't know how much stuff done in New England, but and it's 15 degrees and you go into a facility, it's hard to get your body going, but your body responds different in the humidity down here.
Wow. I also read that you were in a bad car accident a couple of years ago. Can you tell us about that and how were you affected?
Car?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't really in a car accident. I had a deer hit my.
The deer.
Oh, where'd you hear about that?
I read an article about it yesterday while I was researching you.
Yeah, I was actually at Dovetail, and I was getting my bats for the season, and I was driving home to where I was staying, and these two deer just hop over the bank.
What?
Up in Maine, and Dovetail's in like desolate Maine, and I'm probably gonna have to show them this clip because we still laugh about it. But these deer like jump over and they kind of like hit my car like midair, and it's like 11 at night and it's 18 degrees, snowing, and I just hit these deer and kind of I was freaked out, and then my car kind of kept putting along, and then all of the lights on my dashboard turned on, and my car just kind of like came to a halt, and I look at my phone, it's like no service. So that was the most freaked out I've ever been in my life. I was like, what am I going to do? No street lights up in Moosehead Lake up in Maine. If you want to look up that on the maps, it's pretty desolate. But anyway, like I ended up like walking up the road, calling 911, had to sit there in the cold dark waiting for like an hour or two for a police officer to get there because it was so dark and desolate. And yeah, that's just the story. It wasn't thankfully, nothing horrible happened, but it was just a funny experience.
You're with the Rays minor league teams now, but is it true that you've played for 10 different teams since you've been drafted?
No. And if you count the minor league teams, I've been with the Rays my whole career, from 2017 to 2022 now. And I've just moved up a level every season. So I don't think it's that. I've been to rookie ball, short season A, low A, high A, and double A. So I've been all those.
Last season, one of the Rays minor league pitchers, Tyler Zombro, had a very scary incident on the mound. He got beamed with a comebacker, and some people thought he'd never play again, or worse. Were you playing on the team with him? And how inspirational is it to hear he's trying to continue his career?
I wasn't on that team that day. He was in AAA at the time. And he came in the same year that I came in, and he's we're friends. Like, he's a guy that his knowledge about the body and how the brain works and how, biomechanics is just like next level. He's involved with Tread Athletics, which is a really well-known pitching training facility. And, if anybody could do it, it would be him, man. I mean, he's smarter than most guys you're going to meet, and he's resilient. He was an undrafted free agent from George Mason, I believe, which is, another Northeast school that, not a lot of guys get drafted from. So he fits the bill, and I'm really excited to have him down here soon and get to see him pitch again.
In fact, I'm actually interviewing Tyler next week on the next episode of my podcast.
Fantastic. He'll tell him I said hi. Well, I'll tell him, but
my dad always says, have a purpose when I walk on the field. When you train every day, are you telling yourself this is the work to get to your dream of playing in the majors?
Of course, man. That's the daily thought. I mean, I also love to play, there's a lot of guys like you'll talk to in the minor leagues. They're like, oh, this sucks. Like, but I love it. I love playing, dude. I mean, my thing is yeah, right. I want to play in the big leagues, and I've sacrificed everything in my life to get to that point. However, a lot of it is out of your control. I mean, once you get to AA, AAA, and a lot of it is luck. Honestly, you really need like an injury at the big league level, like somebody's contract to be up. There are a lot of good players at AAA that are big leaguers that just don't really get a shot because there's not a clear path. And so you really have to love playing, you have to. So my thing is like, I love going to the field every day, and I love the process of it. I love the strength, the strain on the body. I just enjoy hitting. I love being on the field, just hitting wherever. And so I'm just going to enjoy it and work harder than everybody else. And then that leads me to the big leagues. Great.
What is something you can tell me and my teammates to do or to work at to keep baseball fun, but also keeping us on track for a great season?
Well, I mean, it's fun because, you're with your friends and, you're trying to win, you want to win your town championship or whatever league you're in. And, I would encourage you guys to do stuff on your own, like play baseball on your own outside of practice, and get guys together and do diving catches and throw balls off the wall. And, that's how you really become like a really good player, is like being a really good mover and a good overall athlete. All these guys that are playing professional baseball were really good at other sports as well, usually. And, they're just really good athletes. So, just have fun playing the game and just enjoying the fact that you get to go out with your friends and try to win that all the time. I missed that in high school, where our sole objective was to, bring a championship home for our school. And there's just something really fun about that,
I'm going to Cooperstown this summer in July. Did you go to that tournament?
I actually never got to. Really bummed that I never did, but I've been there before.
I like to end my podcast with these 4 questions. Erik, if you please give us as much or as little information as you want. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Personally, does Barry Bonds or Roger Clemens deserve to be in the Hall of Fame?
100% yes. Barry Bonds for sure. The people who don't know baseball, they think steroids are the end all be all. It's like, dude, you got to hit the ball. Hitting a baseball is the hardest thing to do in any sport, hands down, not close. And he was still so much better than every other player on steroids at that time. He was also exceptionally popular. And the fact that they're kind of snubbing him now on the back end when steroids were kind of a murky thing at the time is ridiculous. And Barry and David Ortiz, Hall of Famer, and a really clutch postseason hitter, very fun, very likable, but also tested positive for steroids. And, I came from Red Sox country, and like he was just obviously so popular, but that's kind of just swept under the rug, and it's kind of ridiculous. I mean, Barry Bonds is the best hitter of all time. I don't think it's close.
What is your favorite player of all time? Who is your favorite player of all time?
A lot of the times I say Barry Bonds just because of like his swing is so unique and so tight, and there's so many things that are like applicable. And he's just, I mean, he is freaking amazing. I mean, he like the plate discipline, the swing decisions, and just his movements are just different. And that's I say that a lot. I was also, growing up, I was really into Manny Ramirez, like really into just his swing. the vibe that he had, and just, he's just sleeping at the plate and just being able to pull off ridiculous moves. And he was entertaining, obviously. And I loved, I always loved, I always loved like AJ Brzezinski and Brandon Phillips and guys like that too, growing up.
What was your favorite baseball movie?
That's a good question. I would say Angels in the Outfield, honestly. That's like an old Disney movie that always used to make me cry as a kid. And it's basically about these orphan kids who love the Angels, and they like want them to win a World Series or whatever. And all these angels come down and help the team, but also help them find a house and a home and stuff. Great movie. And then Moneyball is also fantastic. I think Moneyball is a really good depiction of the game now. They do a pretty good job. Like the baseball clips are pretty good. Like sometimes when baseball movies, like the actors suck at baseball and it just looks dumb to like somebody like me who knows the game, but they do a pretty good job in that movie. And yeah, I think that's a very good depiction of where the game is in 2022.
And finally, what was your favorite baseball experience, either as a player or a fan?
I would say, last year with Bowling Green, winning our high A championship was really collaborative and amazing. I mean, that was one of the best feelings I've had, because I've lost a lot of championships in college and in pro ball. I've come so close so many times. So last year was like a super fun year, and we're going to get our rings like during spring training. And I'm excited to get that, because I've been on some losing teams in the championship.
Erik, I can't thank you enough for coming on here and talking to me today. Did you have fun? And would you want to come back in the show in the future?
Yeah, man. I'm for anything, man. You can always send me a message.
I really appreciate your time, and thanks for the cool stories. If you would like to follow Erik Ostberg's career as he rises through Tampa Bay Rays organization, you can check out his Instagram at Erik Ostberg 21. That's ERIKOSTBERG 21. And thank you to my listeners. If you like what you're hearing, you can help me out by following my Instagram page at Baseball Podcasts Are Fun, subscribing on Spotify, and telling a friend. Please join me next week when my guest will be a guy with an amazing story, Rays pitcher Tyler Zombro. Until then, I am Grayson Knight, and this was Baseball Podcasts Are Fun. Don't forget to swing for the fences. See ya.